At ease. It's your boy Soul Immortal. In a world where commas and zeros define a man's worthiness, in a world where a man's muscles is used to define his masculinity, in the world we live in where the accumulation of things defines, if a man is high value or not, right? Men of understanding know that all of this is just a facade to cover up one thing, right? Let's talk about it. So I want to talk to you about a brother whose path I crossed named Abel Lucas, right? Now, this brother is only 20 years old, and he's already ranked amongst the top CrossFitters in the world, right? The brother is well-traveled, and I think it's safe to say that this brother has seen some places that most men don't even know exist, right? And even on top of all this brother is already aware that the hard work he's putting in is going to provide a lucrative career for him. Now, it goes without saying that this brother has the heart of a lion, right? But during our conversation, the thing that he asked me was, what were my suggestions about him overcoming fear? Matter of fact, what he said was, and I quote, "I'm a fighter, but fighting is nothing but a game of what you perceive as a threat. I'm trying to unlearn what I think threats are or things that I hold in my mind as fear so I can perform at my best inside a ring and outside in my life." 20 years old. Now the thing is, within a 48-hour period of me talking to this young brother, I talked to two other young brothers of the same caliber, right? One brother was from Trinidad and Tobago. Him and I talked about self-love amongst a few other things, right? And then another brother was right here out of Texas, out of Austin. And this brother, man, he's working on a huge project talking about the 7 deadly sins. And I learned a lot from talking to this young brother, right? But the thing I took away from all these conversations were that all roads lead to one thing, right? And I also learned that this one thing is what separates men of understanding from all other men, right? And this one thing is this: knowledge of self. Now, I know what you're saying. Knowledge of self? Yes, knowledge of self. See, the thing is, we toss this word around so much that we've diluted it. Not only have we diluted it, we've confused it with a man being enlightened, right? Now, a couple of months ago, I made a post on my Twitter account. And what I said was, many are confusing enlightenment with knowledge of self. Man is enlightened by removing the veil that this world has placed over his eyes. Knowledge of self is knowing who you are within this world, how to function within this world, and discovering your unlimited capabilities. Now, this is where most people miss the bus. You can ask the far majority of people, do you believe in the creator of all things? Yes. Do you believe that you were made in its image? Yes, right? Now it doesn't matter how many people attend church on Sundays. It doesn't matter how many people attend Jummah on Fridays. I'm telling you, the far majority of people do not believe this. Now, I know what you're thinking. Damn, so like how can you say that? Let's think about it. If we believe that the source is what it says it is, right? If we believe that the source does what it says it does, we believe that we come from the source, we believe that we were made in its image, what can we possibly fear, right? I mean, what can we possibly fear? Loss? If you watch the recipe, I've talked about how we create our own path. What do you fear, man? Your Bible tells you not to fear the man that can kill the body, but to be worried about the one that's in charge of the soul. You know what I'm saying? What do we fear? Death? The man of understanding is fully aware of that the thing that makes up what we really are is all energy. And we all know that energy can't be destroyed, only transferred. So really there's no such thing as death to the man with understanding. So Brother Abel, to answer your question, how do you overcome fear? You overcome fear just simply by understanding who you are and what you are, which is knowledge of self. And it's no different for anything else, right? When we talk about self-love, when we talk about hating our enemies, it's no different. I mean, think about self-love. To go back on what we just said, we believe that the source is what it is, does what it does, and that we are it or a portion of it. For us to not love ourselves is saying one of two things. It's saying that either we don't love the source or we don't believe, right? There's no gray area. Even when it comes to our enemies, most men just don't know how to deal with that, right? We're taught to hate our enemies, but brothers have no idea what they're doing. What the man of understanding knows, or what the brother that has knowledge of self understands, is that to hate your brother or to hate your sister is to hate yourself. In other words, I can't say that I come from a pool of energy and that my brother comes from that same pool of energy, but I have hate for him. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere in the Bible, I think it's Matthew, maybe chapter 5. It's saying something like, and I'm paraphrasing, it's saying something like you've been told to love your neighbor and hate your enemy. He said, but I'm coming to tell you that you should love your enemy just as you love yourself. In other words, the one that hates you, the one that seeks to kill you, the one that cheats and lies to you, you're supposed to love that brother. You're supposed to love that sister. Now, what the prophet was doing was breaking down alchemy to him, right? And the man with knowledge of self understands this. And I'll put it like this, right? This is an example. Like, there are some people that watch my videos, and some people give me a thumbs up. Some people comment. Some people share. Some people go to their friends and be like, hey, you know what? Check Brother Soul out, right? Now I take that energy. I appreciate that. But I accept that energy in a raw fashion. And this is what I mean. See, on the other end of the spectrum, you got some people that give me thumbs down, right? You got some people that leave negative comments, right? You got some people that unsubscribe. You got some people that say, you know what, never watch this channel again, right? You have to understand that I take that as raw energy as well. See, when the book talks about thou shalt not judge, it's not about a morality thing. It's not about because you're going to hurt feelings. It's because when you judge a thing, you remove your ability to manipulate it or to transmute it, right? So I take all energy just as raw energy, right? So when people think they're doing me a disservice by thumbing my videos down or leaving a negative comment, I take it as raw energy. That gives me the ability to still control that energy. That gives me the ability to manipulate it. That gives me the ability to transmute it. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about energy. It's all about understanding. It's all about knowledge of self. Even thinking back to the conversation that I had with a brother down in Austin, right? He was talking about the 7 deadly sins, right? Now, for a man to be jealous or envious, right? For a man to be jealous or envious and to say that he has knowledge of self is impossible. It's impossible. There's no way in the world that you can know who you are, what you're capable of, and have any sense of jealousy or envy in your heart, right? Because what you're saying is that there's a person in the world, on the planet, that has the ability to create that I don't have, right? In other words, there's a person on the planet that receives something from the Most High that I just don't have. And I'm telling you, you can't have knowledge of self and understand that, right? I got a brother down in Georgia, man, a brother named Chauncey. He's heavy into real estate. Now, every time that brother makes a post about closing a deal or selling a home, brother, in my mind, I'm popping bottles. In my living room, I'm doing end zone dances, man, because the God in me recognizes the God in him, understanding that we are one. You know what I'm saying? My sister Mila down in Atlanta, she just hit 100,000 subs recently. But I was celebrating like it was my channel. I'm in the living room striking Heisman poses because the God in me recognizes the God in her. understanding that we are one. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, brothers, whether it's fear, whether it's envy, whether it's lack of self-love, whatever it is, I'm telling you, all roads lead to knowledge of self. So in a nutshell, Brother Abel, I'll say this. Man, I see you as a brother that's not only whooping life's ass, I see you a brother that's going to do huge things just because you're seeking information from a higher source, right? If I were to answer your question in the shortest form possible, it would be this. I will say, is it not written that ye are gods? Right? So in other words, in order to overcome any level of fear, all you have to do is know who you are, know what you are, and know what you're capable of.
At ease!
But for the people that never really tap back into that source, you'll see the way they act out, because really what they're looking for is that joy that comes from that higher source. What they're looking for is that happiness that's associated with living in your higher self. So what you'll see them doing is spending their money on lavish things. They'll a lot of them will have addictions, drug addictions, lust addictions, alcoholic addictions, because what they're doing is they're looking for that fulfillment that they know exists, but they're just not sure how to tap into it. So when I talk about lower self and higher self, that's really what I'm talking about. Now the objective of this game of